guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my first empties video. The video I have been promising you guys for months now. I have a significant size bag here that is pretty full, and we're gonna go through that today. And not only are we going to go through my empties, I'm going to tell you whether or not I will be repurchasing them, and we're also going to dig a little deeper and determine whether or not these empties are recyclable. Now, I want to start off with a little bit of a disclaimer, because I know that sometimes when you get into conversations around sustainability and things like the climate crisis and, you know, all of that kind of stuff, despite the fact that it truly impacts all of us, some people can get a little bit defensive. And so I just want to start off by stating that what I'm going to be talking about today is not an attack or a judgment on any consumers out there who are using products like this, because clearly I am also one of these consumers. What I want to try to accomplish with this video is digging a little bit deeper and having a really open and honest conversation about the end of life of all of our products, especially for people who are in, you know, the makeup, beauty, skincare space. Because it's not something that's ever really talked about. We consume and we consume and we consume, and there are so few brands in this space that are zero waste. So I think it's actually something that we have to talk about it, and it's not something that an influencer is really gonna talk to you about. That's not a conversation that's, number one, comfortable to have, or that's popular to instigate. But as we know, I am none of those things. I am not a guru or an influencer, so I want to talk to you guys about this, because in the society that we live in the systems that we live within, unfortunately, it is consumers like you and me who end up shouldered with the bulk of the responsibility for the end of life of our products. And, you know, there's this thing called wish cycling, which I think all of us are guilty of, where, you know, you finish something and you just throw it into the recycling bin. But the majority of our packaging, especially if it's plastic, is more often than not going to end up straight in the landfill. And if you are paying attention to that specific space, to, you know, environmental news and ecological news and climate crisis news, then you will already know that we are in the middle of a plastic crisis as well. And there's so much plastic in the earth that there will actually be a geological layer of plastic that will define our era, like our whole epoch. So it's a very significant problem, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but, you know, everything kind of does eventually biodegrade, but plastics, even though a plastic in the environment, if it goes into the landfill, if it ends up in, you know, the forest, it could take 500 years to biodegrade. But even at that point of degradation, it will still be plastic. It's not going to break down into any kind of organic natural fibers that can then enrich the soil and the earth. It will just break down into microplastics, and microplastics are everywhere. They are in our water, they are in the air, they are in our bodies. I saw a stat a few years ago that said something to the effect of adult humans eat like 1 credit card worth of plastic every week. Don't quote me on that, but it's something ridiculous. And it's just because of the amount of microplastics that are in our environment and food systems and water sources. So that's why it makes things like proper recycling so important. But I also, in that space, want to talk about the peevy little poltergeist that is the Mobius loop that has really just haunted us, especially if you're part of my generation, for our entire lives. And if you don't know what the Mobius loop is, or you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Mobius loop, it is the recycling symbol. That little triangle of 3 kind of like green bendy arrows that signify to you that something is recyclable. And there's a whole myth of recycling. It can be very frustrating, and it can also be very overwhelming when you are a consumer and then all of a sudden you realize that all of that responsibility for the end of life of a product is on your shoulders. And then you start thinking, well, am I recycling things correctly? Am I throwing something in the recycling bin that will actually end up contaminating that section of, you know, recycling once it reaches the depot? Will it just end up in the landfill? There's so many things you don't know once things are picked up off of your curb every single week. So that's one of the things that I want to talk about. So every item that we're going to go through in my giant bag here, we are going to identify whether or not it is actually recyclable. And I'm going to talk about a couple of alternatives for things that aren't recyclable. Now, right off the top of the bat, I have some issues with brands as we get into the sustainability space. Obviously, things like clean beauty, green beauty, sustainability, net zero, zero waste, PCR, all of these things became kind of like buzzwords. And what ends up happening is when you're in these industries, you understand that consumers care about these things, so you kind of just start greenwashing in order to appeal to the demographics. You know, like brands are now stating on their packaging more and more often that, you know, we're using between 50 and 90% post-consumer resin, i.e. we're using recycled plastic. Great. What that means, even though it's plastic, it means that the packaging is not being produced from virgin plastic. And if you aren't aware, the majority of the plastic we use comes from fossil fuels. It's all like oil-based, which means there's less oil being extracted from the planet in order to create a brand new piece of plastic, in order to create packaging for your shampoo bottle or your all-purpose cleaner bottle or your lip gloss tube. So more and more brands are, you know, really trying to use post-consumer resin, i.e. PCR, i.e. recycled plastic. Again, great, but it's still plastic. It's still plastic, right? Most of the like outer package, like the boxes, is typically cardboard, and a lot of brands are using like FSC certified paper to make cardboard, or 100% recycled. Great, we know that that can pretty much go straight into the recycling bin with little to no issue. Things like glass, clear glass, and aluminum have a buyback market, so they can pretty much go into the recycling bin with little to no issue. But so much of our products are still in plastic packaging. And my other issue with this like whole greenwashing and brands who like to talk about their sustainability practices is they'll put something on their label that says this package is 100% recyclable. I have such mixed feelings about that kind of statement on a piece of packaging. And here's why. In theory, that piece of packaging might actually be 100% recyclable. It could be made of the kind of resin that is most often accepted in, you know, recycling depots. It will be made of the kind of resin that has the biggest buyback market. But, and this is such a huge but, even if the component and the package itself is in fact 100% recyclable, the onus and the responsibility for that, the recyclability of that item after it is used, still rests on the shoulders of the consumer, which means in order for that product to actually be recyclable, and there's still another factor here, there's still another variable, that product has to be, when it's finished being used, has to be completely cleaned out and dried. There cannot be a speck of product left on that packaging before it goes into the recycling bin, because if there is, it will be scanned and it will be recognized as contaminated, and it will be completely diverted away from the recycling stream, and it will go to the landfill. There are not people at the recycling depots who are washing down your plastics. That's not happening. The other factor that completely derails that this package is 100% recyclable idea is that we do not have standardized recycling practices around the world. So, you know, I could buy a product from a brand in California, but California has completely different recycling rules than I do here in Ontario. And it's not even like Ontario has standardized recycling rules. What you can or cannot recycle is actually dependent on your municipality, not even your province. So what I can recycle here where I live versus what I could recycle when I was living in Toronto, probably very different things. There's a municipality just like one step over from where I live that takes black plastic. Strange. I don't really know how they're doing that. My municipality does not accept black plastic. So even though, again, this brand is stating that their package is 100% recyclable, that could very well be in theory, but in practice is where we have the issue constantly, because it requires the consumer to do so much legwork in order for that item to actually become recyclable. And then in combination, in tandem with that, you have to have a municipality with recycling rules that are actually compatible with that item. Needless to say, it's all very nuanced, it's all very complicated, and it can be incredibly disheartening and overwhelming. And this is one of the biggest issues, is we have all of these industries, we have all of these companies, all of these big organizations, all of these big corporations who are predominantly responsible for our waste and, you know, carbon emissions and the climate crisis in general. But they spin the narrative to make it so that it's the individual's responsibility to take care of the problem. And that is one of the deep flaws in the world that we live in. I'm not going to go too far down that road today. I've already spoken about this, I think, enough, but I think it's really important. And, you know, when I called the Mobius loop, you know, a PV poltergeist, I'm being quite serious, because we've been tricked. It's a trickster. That symbol on a product is a trick. And then we are further tricked by the little triangles, the little Mobius loops with the numbers inside. And that doesn't actually mean that an item is recyclable. The little Mobius loop with the number inside is actually just a resin identification number. So, you know, you have the recycling little triangle with the 1 in it, and that just means that's just one kind of resin. And some municipalities will tell you we take, you know, resin number 1, 2, 5, or we take 1, 3, and 7. Sometimes it's helpful, but those numbers are not really for the consumer. The numbers just tell you what kind of plastic the item has been made out of. Again, even just the like empty little Mobius loop suggests recyclability, but there are so many factors working against you that that item might not actually end up being recycled when all is said and done. Anyways, that's a lot. It's a lot to consume. It's a lot to understand. And if you're new to trying to understand your personal waste impact, welcome. It's a very tough and long journey. And again, hello, cat. As part of this disclaimer, this isn't an attack on any individual. This is not, I am not judging anybody's personal practices at home. I am not judging the kinds of products that you use. I just want us all to be aware and to have these conversations. I want us to be conscious. I want us to be conscious consumers. I want us to be conscious in our actions. This is so unnecessary, Cuthbert. I put out wicker baskets. Naturally, she has discovered that there's playpens for her. Deeply apologize. You know, usually it's just my squeaky stool, but tonight you also get the cat and wicker. Anywho, I just want us to be conscious of the full life cycle of the things that we are using. whether it is cleaning products, whether it is beauty products, whether it is skincare, whether it is hair care. There's just a level of consciousness that I think really needs to come to the surface and needs to be talked about more. So today, that is what I am trying to accomplish. But I'm also gonna let you know, I can't remember if I said this already, whether or not I'm gonna purchase some of these products. And I'm gonna start with the things that I'm waving around, which are not empties, but they are things that I'm going to declutter simply because they're old. And it's not because I don't like them. Well, one of them is because I decided I don't like them. 3 of these items have been in my collection for a long time, and it's like we are past their expiry date and it's starting to show. And the other one is newer, but I just realized that it's not something I want to keep, and it's a miniature, so I'm not too shook up of it. Okay, the first 2 products that you've seen me waving around are the Tower 28 Beach Please Luminous Tinted Balm in Happy Hour and Golden Hour. Now, again, I love these products, but they're old and like getting gross and kind of slimy. I'm like 3 weeks shy of having had these for 2 years, and they have been open and in use for that entire 2-year period. It says 12 months, so we're like way past the prime. I'm also just growing tired of these 2 shades, and I have very similar shades in the Ritual de Fille Color Nectar Pigment Balms, which I really, really do love. So it's just time to move on from these. And I think I've mentioned this several times, but I have 2 of the newer shades in this, which I'm really excited to open. And now I can kind of give myself permission to do that because they will be acting as replacements, and they've just been sitting in a drawer. The next product, which is very near complete, but is also incredibly old, and like the texture has changed, so I know it's like past its prime. This is the Ilia Color Haze Multi Matte Pigment in Stutter. This is an absolutely stunning product, and it's something that I definitely will repurchase when the time comes when I need a replacement of this sort. I don't really have anything like this in my collection at the moment, but I do have the Danessa Myricks Vision Flush, which kind of gives me that like liquid creamy blush vibe. So I don't have a need for this kind of product in my collection right now. But again, when the time comes, I definitely will repurchase because it's lovely, and it also smells so nice to me. It smells nice to me. It's got this like such nostalgic smell. It smells like the vanilla they use to fragrance like baby dolls with. Anyway, I love it. And then the last product that I'm decluttering is the Tarte Breezy Cream Bronzer in Seashells. And it's just, like I said at the beginning, the mini. And one of the reasons is that from the moment I got it, it fell right out of the component. And I also just haven't been reaching for it. I used it a bunch when I first got it because I was just excited to try something new. But since then, honestly, it's not my favorite thing. So, are these recyclable? By my municipality standards, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because colored plastic, and this is technically a squeezy tube. So if I wasn't me, these would be going straight into the garbage and straight into the landfill. And I have a hard time with that morally, ethically. These, however, I probably could recycle, but it means completely scraping out all of this product and cleaning every inch of the plastic before I put it in the recycling. Now, this is when I will talk very briefly about 2 different program options that consumers have to feel better about the end of life of their products and have more assurance that their plastic items and hard to recycle packaging specifically actually are going to be recycled and put back into like a secondary market for the brands and the companies who are using PCR, i.e. recycled plastics. So the first one is Terracycle. Now, Terracycle has several different programs where they've already kind of teamed up with brands where you just basically like fill a box with the product from that brand, print out a label, and then ship the box back. Some of those brands include, I believe, Colgate, Brita, Burt's Bees, and Living Proof. I will link this in the description box down below so that you can, if you're new to Terracycle, you can kind of do your own little search. I have a bunch of boxes in my dad's old workshop right now where I'm just kind of like hoarding products, just kind of collecting these things until I have a box full enough. And I believe they just updated their program, so there's now like a weight requirement for the boxes. And this is again to kind of help reduce the footprint of the shipping. So there's that option if you use products that kind of fall into one of their program categories. The alternative with Terracycle is to buy one of their zero waste boxes. And again, they have different categories in which you can purchase these boxes from. I don't have a Terracycle box yet. They're quite expensive, but I think I'm gonna have to get one because again, I need to personally feel like I'm just doing something a little bit more. But again, this comes at the expense of the consumer. It takes your time and it takes your money. And this is right out of pocket. These are not subsidized things. This level of conscious consuming and conscious recycling, there's no subsidy for that. Again, there are these specific programs which don't cost you anything, but on average, the majority of the products we use, if you want to ensure that they are actually recycled properly, it all falls on your shoulders. I'm just gonna keep hammering that over your head because it's such an important fact. It's such an important piece of information that we need to be aware of. And we also have the power to demand change for that kind of thing. If you're in Ontario, if you're in Canada, we're headed for a snap election, a snap federal election in just over a month. So, you know, we can vote with our dollars, we can vote with our votes. I'm not going to go into that too deeply either, but you know, there are things that we can demand in terms of change. But again, if you have the financial means, purchasing a Terracycle box is an option. It is something that I am considering. The other program is through a company called Pact. Hey, stop that. And recently I saw that Hudson's Bay and the Mob Beauty brand, Mob Beauty, I don't know what they're officially called. I think it's just Mob Beauty. They partnered up with Pact to do like a mail back program, again, for your difficult to recycle and dispose of products and packaging. That comes with a whole list of caveats too, and you actually have to pay for shipping. Their argument there is that they're paying for the proper mechanical recycling. We just want you to pay for the packaging. And then if you do it through the Mob Beauty partnership, I think Mob Beauty will give you like 15% off your next order, which is kind of cool if you're using their products. They're definitely a brand that I'm interested in, so I find that piece enticing, but we will see. They also have drop-off bins at select Hudson's Bay locations across North America, so I might consider that too. The closest one is about half an hour away from me, which again comes at a cost to me because I have to drive there, which means I have to pay for gas to get there. So there's just all of these little factors, and you know, you have to take the time, you have to take the energy, you have to take you have to have the financial means, you have to have the mental and emotional wherewithal to follow through on proper recycling. Like it is not as easy as just tossing something into a bin. Anyways, I think I have just spent 30 minutes ranting about this. Let's get into the rest of my actual empties, shall we? The first two are quite easy because it's a giant yes, they are recyclable, and a giant yes, I will repurchase. And it is just so cute and simple. It is the Crate 61 soaps. And this one is Alpine and Spice, and this one is Canadian Maple. And these are just cardboard boxes. And I've got these at like Winners or HomeSense. It's a 3-pack. It's just soap. It's the soap that I use in my shower, and I love them. And I really like to have kind of a zero waste shower. It's one of the easiest places to actually go zero waste. So immediately this is a yes, it can be recycled, and yes, I will repurchase. So I have 3 little categories here. Yes, it can 100% be recycled, and immediately these go into that category. There's a basket for absolutely no, it cannot be recycled, and a basket for it needs to be rinsed out properly, and then it can be recycled, or it needs to be rinsed out properly, and then I'm gonna do a mail back program or hold on to it until I get a Terracycle box. Okay, next, piece of plastic and a product that I will be using until I die. And that is just, you know, simple Clear Care contact solution. This is the brand that I use. It's a tried and true. Yes, I will repurchase because I do wear contacts, and I wear contacts way more often than I wear glasses. My biggest beef with this though is that you cannot, I don't know how to get the lid off. So that's something I need to figure out before I'm actually able to recycle this, because this part here, this plastic cap, is not actually recyclable. Only the bottle is recyclable. And that's just a maybe, because I don't know if this is going to show up. I think the lights are too hot. This is number 2 plastic, or number 2 resin. So it's kind of a question mark. This might be a wish, but this is going to go into basket number 1 because I need to get the lid off of it first. Product number 2. Mouthwash. The Jason Healthy Mouth with cinnamon clove. All natural mouthwash. I actually have recently fallen in love this year with this mouthwash. I've never been much of a mouthwash person, but I do really like this product. Again, this is like a type 2 plastic, but it is rinsed out. I'm going to take the cap off, which is a no, and the bottle is going to go into the recycling. Next is the Martus Naturals Body Lotion in Aïdi Chérie. Beautiful. I purchased a whole bunch of stuff from Martus Naturals before Christmas. It was part of like a Christmas purchase for the family. And this is a lovely, lovely, lovely lotion. It's a Black-owned brand, small business from the United States. Really love her stuff. I bought a bunch of soaps from her too. I love soap so much. Love it. Will I repurchase it again? Possibly. The only reason it's a possibly versus 100% yes is just because of the shipping. Like, buying stuff from the States is just so expensive, and you get dinged with like import duties and all that bullshit, and it's annoying. I do love supporting BIPOC brands. I do love supporting small businesses. I really loved her products so much. It's just the importing issue that makes this a kind of ugh. So this is not 100% cleaned out, so that is a must do before it goes into the recycling. This can be recycled, but it absolutely has to be like fully washed out. There cannot be any residue or product, and the cap is black, which means it's an absolute no, which means garbage. All right, next, the ThinkSport SPF 50 Kids Sunscreen. I love ThinkSport sunscreen. I have not used chemical sunscreen on my body. I know that we're using a chemical sunscreen on my face now with the Garnier serum sunscreen, but when it comes to my body skin is so sensitive, and with this like rash issue that I've been experiencing, I'm just not willing to like try a chemical sunscreen and risk getting more irritated skin when I'm already having such a hard time. But the ThinkSport is great. It's, you know, it for someone of my skin tone and anyone who's darker, like, you're basically going to be white and or blue when you put this on, but it does the job. And for if I'm just like going for a bike ride or working in the garden or the yard, it's fine. Now, can this be recycled? Oh, will I repurchase? Yeah, probably, because I need sunscreen. I already have a replacement for my sunscreen, so it won't be anytime soon that I replace this one, but yes, I will repurchase this at some point. Can it be recycled? Probably not, honestly, because this is like considered a squeezy tube and the cap is too small and won't be recycled. It also 100%, I need to cut the top off here and it needs to be fully cleaned out. So this will either be, if I end up purchasing a Terracycle box, this will go Terracycle. Otherwise, I might try to do a packed mail back with this, but it definitely needs to be cleaned first. All right, I'm not going in any particular order, by the way. It's literally, I'm just reaching in and whatever is in there is in there. Next is the Heritage Store Rosewater and Glycerin Spray. I love this stuff, and actually I have had this for a really long time. Like when I ran out of the rose water that was in here, I just filled it up with my Thayer's toner and was using that. And I like to either use this as just a spray or to activate my soap brows. Love it. However, it definitely needs another rinse because it still really smells like rose. And it's clear enough, so it probably can be recycled. Look, it has that stupid Mobius loop on it, so it suggests that you can recycle it. However, the spray, do you call this an atomizer? Is this an atomizer? Can't be. So that's 100% no. This would end up straight in the landfill if I dared put this in my blue bin. So both of these are gonna go in the must need a better rinse thing. This will then go into recycling, and this will go probably in the packed mail back because they are taking pumps and spray things. Okay. Next, which I have already cut open and cleaned. This is the Derma E Vitamin C Gentle Daily Cleansing Paste, Golden Turmeric Ancient Rice. I love Derma E products. They're just a really nice, like, ethical brand. I find their products extremely effective and also quite affordable. This product specifically, though, I don't know if I'll repurchase. It was fine. Did I notice anything magical or special about it? No. Again, I've already cut off the top and have done like a very thorough rinse. So this will go into the recycling. Oh wait, look. That needs to be rinsed because there was goo in the top. So this is gonna have to go into the must rinse bin again. And honestly, this isn't a black cap, but it is a hard plastic cap, and I'm pretty sure this is a no. So this is garbage. More sunscreen. This is the Live Clean Face Sunscreen SPF 45. Way too heavy and thick for face sunscreen if this is something that you're going to wear under your makeup, unless you have super, super, super dry skin. Then it might be like really lovely. I found this to be way too much for a makeup day. However, if again, you're just like going outside to do yard work, or you're like going for a hike and you're not wearing any makeup, or you're just doing anything outside that doesn't require like you to be done up, it's fine. It does the job. I was also using this on my body. That's how I finished it. This also needs to be properly cleaned out, and the cap is similarly probably a toss out. It's resin 5, so like I don't think my municipality takes that. I'm gonna have to do some digging if I really want to find out, but for now it's gonna go into the garbage section. Okay, I finally finished this. This is the Phytoclear Botanical Retinol Gel Cream. Great in skincare. I think I mentioned this, that I did end up really liking this. This is gonna have to either be a Terracycle thing or a packed, but even then, it might just end up, if I send this to packed, I have no way of opening this component, which I find infinitely infuriating. There's no way to open this, and I'm pretty sure these kind of components, like what the product was in, is like one of those kind of like vacuum sealed bags. So like as you're moving through, it just like squeezes the product up in like a little baggie inside because it's really light. But I cannot, there's no way for me to open this to clean the product. So, and Pact even says this is like a disclaimer on their site. If you send them something that's not fully clean, they will take it out and it will end up being incinerated, which is like not great for the planet either. So this kind of remains a question mark. I'm gonna see what I'm gonna see if I can try and open that, but I don't know. And even though I end up liking this product, my issue with the packaging also makes this a question mark as to whether or not I will repurchase. Which really sucks, but you know, I'm at this point in my life where I'm just gonna throw a couple things in. This was the outer packaging, so just for the Phytoclear. So just a cardboard box, which can be recycled. Yay, one thing. Anyways, what I was saying is packaging is now also factoring into whether or not I will repurchase a product, regardless of whether or not I love the formula and I love the product and it's something that I want to use forever and ever and ever. If the packaging is difficult and weighs heavily on my emotions and my mind, sorry, but I think it's gonna have to be a no. And that's like kind of tragic. Anyways, next up is this Glow Recipe Papaya Sorbet Enzyme Cleansing Balm. And I think this was just like one of the point rewards from Sephora. I don't remember when I got this. It is completely cleaned out, but because it's so tiny and it's colored plastic, this would not be taken and accepted by like the traditional recycling route. So I think this is gonna have to be, again, Terracycle if I buy that, or the packed send back program. Next up, a classic, Head and Shoulders Citrus Breeze. Now, one thing that has been, stop it. One thing that has been infinitely frustrating for me this year, among many other things, is that I've really failed in my zero waste shower space. Before I moved home, I was maybe going through like one plastic bottle of shampoo a year. I had been using like only bar soap and like shampoo and conditioner bars for a couple of years. And I was doing like homemade scrubs. So I was like really effective in my low waste shower space. Since moving home, I think it was like a lot to do with like environmental changes and stress. All of a sudden there's plastic bottles everywhere. I do not use body wash, so that's not the issue. It's been shampoo. And I started getting like really flaky scalp, and the shampoo bars just weren't cutting it. So I had to introduce the Head and Shoulders. Mostly, like not now, it was mostly over the winter months when it was like really, really cold and dry. I'm anticipating having to do that again this year, but we'll see. And if that happens, it will be another repurchase of a Head and Shoulders. But this is another one where like the lids just are like really stuck on there. I managed to get this off, but this does need to be rinsed properly. And again, this blue cap likely will not be taken by traditional recycling channels. So that's a garbage. And then this is a needs to be rinsed out and then recycled. Next, another Derma E product, and this is one of like my all-time favorite products, so this is like 100% yes, I will be repurchasing. It is the Jasmine and Vanilla Hydrating Shea Body Lotion. It's so good. It smells exactly like it sounds. It is very soft and light. Sometimes I can smell more vanilla, sometimes I can smell more jasmine, but it's an absolutely beautiful, lightweight, but super, super hydrating lotion. I buy these 2 at a time because I just love it so much, and this is the kind of lotion that I need to have. Like one upstairs if I'm watching TV at night, it's like in my knitting box. This is where this came from, and like one in my shower. It's just really great. So this is something, obviously that it's all still intact. I need to do a full rinse out, recycle, garbage. Another clear care because your girl has contacts and we go through this a lot. Similarly, the cap needs to come off, it needs to be rinsed, and then bottle, recycle, cap, garbage. Ooh, a glass product. This is the Activist Collective Sea to Skin Cleansing Gel. I really liked this. I discovered this brand from the Clean Jungle Beauty Shop. It was great. It was this like vibrant blue color. I can't remember if I shared this in one of my like skincare videos. It was great. Will I repurchase it? I don't know. I think I've mentioned this too before, but I'm very much like a skincare explorer. I like to try all kinds of different things. I have hero products, I have tried and trues, but on average, I'm not necessarily repurchasing the same thing over and over and over again because I just like to try new stuff. And there's so much in like the green, clean beauty space that just is so much fun to try. However, this brand does do refills, so they do encourage you to keep the packaging, which is why it's like nice and heavy in glass, and then you can buy the refills, which is just, it creates less waste. It's just those like little kind of baggies, you cut it open, you fill it up, and there you go. However, because I don't know if I'm going to repurchase this, I also don't think that, I don't know if they ship to Canada, and the Green Jungle Beauty Shop does not carry their refills, I don't think. I just don't want to be holding on to like all these things. But it's glass, so that can be recycled. The top, however, is a no. Okay. I've got a couple of products from the Inky List here. This is the Q10 serum. It was fine. Will I repurchase it? Probably not, because I didn't really notice a difference. I don't know if it did anything. It is already rinsed out, but it's super small and I don't know if that's recycling. I'm gonna put it in the recycling, but the cap is black plastic, so oh man, get your shit together, Alanna. Just things are flying everywhere. The cat is being a disaster. Black plastic is a hard no across the board in most cases. And if you're wondering why, most of the time it's because the sensors, when things are being processed in the plants, cannot differentiate the black plastic from the black conveyor belt. So if these two things were on the conveyor belt, the contrast between this bottle and the conveyor belt is very stark, obviously. It's white against black. But this is just black against black, so the sensors have no way to pick this out of the lineup in order to determine how it's going to be recycled. So naturally that presents a problem. I think the Terracycle boxes might take black plastic, but again, I don't know to like what extent and how large the item may or may not have to be. So for now, garbage, recycling. I didn't tell you what this one was. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. This is the Inky List Glycolic Acid Toner. Again, don't really know if this did anything for me. I don't know if glycolic acid is the acid for me. So it's great price point. The Inky List is, you know, very accessible, I think. If I'm gonna do kind of an active toner, I might go in a different direction next time. I just don't know if this is something I want to repurchase. Okay, next is the Wildcraft Cleanse Makeup Remover. Chamomile and honey. Love Wildcraft skincare so much. And it's a glass bottle, so it can be recycled, but I don't know if you can tell, there's just like a little dibby-dabby drop of product left in here, so I need to like pull out the little stopper, give this a good rinse, and then it can be recycled. And bless them, the cap is metal. That can be recycled. So once this is properly rinsed, into the recycling it goes. Hurrah! And will I repurchase that? Yeah, I have repurchased that many, many times. It's great. Okay, next is the Wabi Sabi Botanicals, the Alchemist, which is this absolutely gorgeous coffee scented body oil in the most divine packaging ever. And it's glass, but it's brown glass, and it also needs to be rinsed out properly, and this pump needs to be fixed. The cap is plastic. It's deceiving. It looks metal, but it is plastic. And this is a pump. So I'm going to say as a whole, this is like a Terracycle and or packed mail back. I just don't know if our municipality takes that So it will be part of one program or another. Will I repurchase that? Probably. It's really lovely, but it's also like a limited edition, so she doesn't have it all year round, which is fine because I have other body oils. But you know, once a year, why not, as a treat. Next, I have the Ritual Defeat Thorn Oil Immortelle Botanical Serum Stick. I really liked this. This was one of their like limited edition moon drops where they're just kind of doing like a market test on a new product. I don't think they've officially launched this product yet. I don't know if you can see, kind of, there's still some product left in there. It was this like deep red serum stick. I really, really liked this product, and I really love the scent of Immortelle in skincare. But, and this is my biggest gripe with Ritual Defeat, and it's one of my favorite brands. I love their formulas, I love their products, but everything is in black plastic. Oh, it is heartbreaking and makes me so mad because I love their products, but it's like such a deterrent. If they came out with this product in like a glass bottle or even just like a different colored plastic, I would probably consider repurchasing this. It's also very expensive. But if they continue to sell this product whenever it officially launches in this packaging, it's just gonna be a no, because I can't. Again, I might be able to send this back through Pact, or if I get the Terracycle box, but otherwise this would go straight to the landfill. Ritual Defeat, help us. Please do better. Or set up your own send back program where you take back your packaging, sanitize them, and then reuse them and fill them with new product if you must keep this packaging for pure aesthetics, because we're just creating waste. Okay, next is Rachel's Plan B Sweet Pumpkin Body Butter. Love this product so much. It is seasonal, but will I repurchase it if they come out with it this fall and I have no other body lotions or body butters left? Yes. Oh my God, it smelled so good. I bought 2 of these last year, and like I made them last because it was just the most divine thing ever. So silky, so delicious, smells so good. If you're a pumpkin spice bitch, like check out Rachel's Plan B. They have a bunch of different scents. She also has a bunch of different products. Now this is a glass jar. Has the Mobius loop on it. Heyo. Can it be recycled in my municipality? I don't know. I'm gonna have to search it out, but it definitely needs another, like a proper wash, because it's still a little oily. So by that alone, it's contaminated and would end up in the landfill. But the top is black plastic, so that's garbage. This needs to be rinsed. I'm gonna drop that lightly so we don't break it. Okay, this is more just like cardboard of a product that I'm not finished yet. This is going to be the longest video ever. Who's excited? I'll finish up the skincare. And then there's some other makeup stuff in here. This is another Wabi Sabi Botanicals product. It is the Valley of Light Illuminative Mask and Exfoliant. If you are a mask person and you like powdered masks where you have to mix in water or oil or whatever, you would probably really love this. It's like a cocoa based mask, so it's brown. It has exfoliating properties. You can definitely, like, there's actives in it, so you can definitely feel the tingle. Really like it. Probably will repurchase again. I'm not a huge mask person, but it is just a really nice, quite effective product. And Wabi Sabi does not use any essential oils, so if you're sensitive to fragrances, especially essential oils, this is a really lovely brand. It's got a higher price point, but definitely recommend. This part of the component is glass, so will be recycled, and as you can see, it has been cleaned out. The top, however, is plastic. It's white plastic, so I might try to include this. The top itself needs a better clean, but I might try to include that in like a packed mail back. Then we have the Holly Frog Superior Omega Nutritive Gel Wash. This was fine. I don't know if I'll repurchase this. It was whatever. It did a job. It desperately needs to be rinsed out again. It's white plastic, so I'm going to try to do this with the regular recycling channel, but the pump here, first of all, I don't know if you can see, there's still product stuck inside, so I'm going to have to get all of the product out, and then this will have to go in either Terracycle or a packed mail back. Otherwise, this would end up in a landfill. So these are going in the rinse bin for further attention. Then we have a little tiny Lolita Skin Food. It is the Light Nourishing Cream. I love Lolita. I say Lolita. Love it so much. Love the fragrance. Love Skin Food. And I like to keep one of these in my purse as hand cream. Lolita has a program with Terracycle. So once I give this a nice clean, I'm just gonna set up another box in my workshop and we'll just collect these until I have enough to mail back, because there's already a program that's being paid for. So that's going in that bin for rinsing. Another Holly Frog product. This is the Kissimmee Vitamin F Therapy Balmy Wash. Another product, and like I really use that, another product that was just fine. I'm not sure I'm thrilled with Holly Frog. I like their aesthetic, but will I pay for these again? I don't know, giant question mark. It's a squeezy tube, so my municipality will not take this, which means both the cap, and the cap is honestly probably landfill. But I might be able to do caps with this program, this like send back program, so we'll see. But I'm definitely gonna have to cut that open and do a full like clean out of this. I have a lot of work on my hands. I'll show you this after. Next is the Fresh Soy Face Cleanser. This was another one of my like Sephora rewards orders. It was the first time that I ever tried this product. I know so many beauty YouTubers rave about this. It was fine. Will I repurchase? I didn't really purchase this. This was a rewards. This was rewards bizarre item. I don't know, but it's super tiny plastic, so this is gonna have to be Terracycle or packed, send back, and it needs to be properly rinsed before I can do that. But let me tell you, I think packed only accepts like 10 items at a time, so I'm gonna have to keep all of this shit forever. Or I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and spend the $125 or whatever it is to get the Terracycle box. Next is the Playa California Salt Shampoo with tea tree oil and sea salt. Another product that was just fine. I get that people really love like a scalp scrub, but why don't you just put some sea salt and tea tree oil in your shampoo? You could do that, right? Like you could just do that on your own. Anyways, this is rinsed out. I used it all. I think I bought this last year. It was definitely still in my apartment when I had this, and it was just one of those things where I was like, I guess I'll try it. It might feel nice. If I'm gonna do a scalp scrub though, and I don't wanna make my own, the Briogeo is something I would prefer over this. This is recyclable. Cap is debatable, but the body of the component certainly is. Next, I have the Youth to the People Adaptogen Deep Moisture Cream. This is a product that I actually really love. I adore Youth to the People, and it's just a mini. I think this was probably another like rewards something. I actually don't mind holding on to the mini ones because they are glass and they're like nice for travel, and it's not as bulky as the Skin Activist jar. So I think I'm gonna hang on to this just because who knows when I'm gonna be traveling in the year 2050. But in 2050 I might need a mini jar. So I'm gonna give that a better kind of rinse out and then keep it. But in the meantime, it's gotta go in the rinse bin. Ooh, that was loud. Okay, I got a couple deodorants here. The first is the Live Clean Coconut Lemongrass deodorant. I'm not gonna repurchase this. Sometimes Live Clean does it right, other times I'm just like, no. And the reason I'm not going to repurchase this is, one, I didn't find it particularly effective, but two, I found that this scent was trying too hard to smell like traditional aluminum antiperspirants, like female, like women's antiperspirants, and that is something that I absolutely detest. That's one of the reasons, aside from the whole like I don't want to wear antiperspirant anymore things, that's why I moved away from, you know, drugstore deodorants, is just the freaking scents. And this was it. This was a huge fail. I was hoping for something way different. And I did give it a little sniff through my mask in the store, but obviously, you know, the cap was still on it and it's a mask, so you can't always smell everything through them. And I used it up, but I will not repurchase this, and it desperately needs to be cleaned. I don't really know how to, like, I think deodorants end up in the landfill because they have the like wind up and you can't take it out. And I'm really not about to spend all of my time trying to deconstruct this entire component. Again, the onus is on the consumer to figure out what the fuck to do with this. And that is just so infuriating and wrong. So, landfill. The next deodorant is from La Vanilla. This is the healthy deodorant in Vanilla Winter. Another aluminum-free, like, quote-unquote, natural deodorant. I hadn't used La Vanilla in a really, really long time, and I think before Christmas I bought like a 3-pack, and I quite enjoyed this one. The scents for the season. So this is like hints of mint leaves, balsam fir, and vanilla. What I liked about this one, it wasn't like always effective, but it did a pretty reasonable job. But there's also no coconut oil. There's coconut derived ingredients, but there's no coconut oil in this. And one of my biggest beefs with like natural deodorants is that so many of them have coconut oil, and coconut oil is a thing that's just gonna stain the pits of all of your shirts forever. It's so hard to get out. It's one of the reasons why I like stopped wearing white shirts, was because I just could not handle having the pit stains, so like perma pit stains, because of the coconut oil in the deodorant. So that's one thing I really appreciate about La Vanilla, is that there's no coconut oil. The one that I'm using now is also La Vanilla. It's I think their summer scent. It's no longer effective. I'm having like skunk pits, but this one I enjoyed for the winter time. And again, huge, bulky, thick plastic container, impossible to like really clean out. Landfill? Ugh, I hate that. Okay, another shampoo. After the one that's in my shower is finished now, we are transitioning back to solid shampoos and conditioners. You know, I bought these like all kind of in a pinch. Things weren't working out for me with my solid shampoos. I strayed away from the brand that I knew that I liked and just needed to buy inexpensive shampoos. So this is the Garnier Nourishing Treat Shampoo, and this is the coconut extract scent. I don't know, it's this one. It was fine. It is what it is. Garnier is one of those brands that's really trying hard to like be very, very transparent with all of their ingredients now. They're telling you, you know, the bottle is recyclable. I believe them, you know. It's made from recyclable materials. Garnier is trying really hard to like use clean energy. So there's all kinds of stuff that Garnier is doing, but again, is it really recyclable? Is it 100% recyclable? I have no way of knowing. I'm not gonna like follow the truck to the depot, but this looks like it needs and smells like it needs another rinse, so I'm gonna do that. Then I'm gonna strip off the label, because on the Garnier bottles, the newer ones like this, which I really appreciate, the label is really easy to get off, which is another thing that you kind of should be doing when you have plastic, is to take off the labels, because that's another thing that can prohibit its actual recyclability. Did you think you were gonna get a full science lesson? That like stresses you out to no end? Another product from Inky List. This is the Caffeine Eye Cream. I liked this. Will I repurchase it? Honestly, probably, because it was just nice. It didn't do anything bad. And I feel like with eye cream, you're not gonna know if it did something good until you stop using it. Is that like the trick? Is that the lie of eye cream? I don't know. But again, we have a black cap, garbage, and it's like a teeny tiny black cap. And this has already been totally cleaned out, so that will be recycled. Now, the rest of these items in here, I'm gonna try to zoom through really fast because I've kept you here for 1,000 years. My teeny tiny, sad little Marcel eyeliner, which is a wooden pencil, but it's stuck in the plastic lid. So unfortunately, and like I can't, there was still some to use. This isn't, it's too small for this to focus on properly. I could have still used it, but it's stuck. So, garbage. There's no hope for recycling that. I have a Tom's toothpaste here. I think Tom's might be another one of the brands that has a program with Terracycle, so I'm gonna check that out. And if they do, great, but I have to do the work of cleaning this out. But I love a Tom's toothpaste, so I will repurchase that. This is a Skin Iceland eye cream, but as I've found with this product, which I have purchased a couple of times, the blue label always comes off. This is one of those absolutely impossible to break down and recycle components though. Like, you've got a silicone applicator here, you've got the twist up. The only thing that actually comes off is the lid, which cannot be recycled because it's small and weird colored plastic. So I can try doing a Terracycle or Pact, but I have a feeling because I cannot open this to actually clean out the component, it's going to be landfill or incineration. So this is my Kosas Revealer Concealer in the shade 5.5. I don't know where 6 is. I may have tossed it before I did this. I tried really hard to clean it out. I'm gonna have to go back in. This would not be accepted in traditional recycling. I think this honestly would probably be considered like household waste, or household hazardous waste rather. But I'll try to recycle this properly through like Pact or Terracycle. But again, I need to do a better job of cleaning this out. I got most of it out because I got one of those cosmetic spatulas where you just like shove it in there and like scoop out all of the excess product. And honestly, by that point, I pulled out the cappy thing, so this just needs a good wash. And I don't know, do I have to like shampoo the thing? I don't know. There's so many things that I don't know. I'm just trying to expose the complexities of the end of life of our products here. It's not like I'm saying I know everything and I'm perfect and you're not. No, clearly I am as complicit as anyone else in this whole thing, and I don't live a zero waste life. I have a composter, you know, I'm trying my hardest. But again, consciousness and awareness, two things that are important in order for you to actually start making some changes. So yeah, I will clean this better. This is gonna go in the rinse bin. My Kosas Sport Lip Fuel, which I like just talked about, and then rolled it up to use it and it all cracked and fell out. So hi, and empty. And this is just like stuff that I have to scoop out. But again, another really, really challenging component to clean and to recycle. So Kosas, this is nice, but like, what am I supposed to do with this? Help us. Landfill. Then we have a little mini Pharmacy Very Cherry Bright 15% clean vitamin C serum. I thought this was lovely. But again, another super difficult component to clean and to recycle. It does open up, but it's so tiny. Like, I can try to do a Pact and or Terracycle thing, but I don't know, it's very difficult. Okay, I just had to clear some space because I've been talking for a million years. Also, do you love how Cuthbert just decided, to join us, but apparently it's a no touchy zone. Okay. Next up, I have 2 beloved mascaras, which I want to repurchase, but the packaging is so hard. So we have the Bite Upswing, which we know that I ended up loving. And then we have the Ilia Limitless Lash, which is no longer in this packaging, but we know that I also deeply, deeply love. How do you properly clean mascara tubes? Can someone tell me because otherwise this is like straight to the landfill and or incinerator. I don't know. I feel like Pact would not take this, but maybe Terracycle will. If you use Terracycle, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to get on like a customer support chat and go through all of the things in my rinse bin here to be like, help me. So we're gonna put that in the rinse bin and pray that these can be recycled by someone. Otherwise, it's garbage. Then we have my very sad, frustrating Kosas Golden Bronze in medium. I loved this at first, but then it just hard panned again and again and again and again, and I found that so infuriating, so I don't know if I'm going to repurchase this. And also, like, impossible to clean. I don't know. I know that there's like a depotting tools, which I might be able to like yank out the actual tray. But otherwise, who recycles this plastic? Don't know. And frankly, in this very moment, I'm feeling sweaty and overwhelmed, and I don't want to spend any more time on this product. So garbage. Okay, last two, and then we can wrap this shit up. Lip balms. Two favorites that I will probably repurchase. Maybe this one has more of a chance of being repurchased than this one, and this purely just because of access. This is the Evan Healy Whipped Shea Butter for Lips with Raspberry Seed. Love this. I have been using the Evan Healy products, specifically this lip balm, for like 5 years. Love it. Love it a lot. It's absolutely wonderful. It's like pretty like fat in comparison to like this lip balm, just like size-wise. You get 7 grams of product. I don't know what the price is off the top of my head, but it's wonderful. I just truly love this product, and it makes your lips feel great. And it comes in clear plastic packaging that I was able to clean out pretty well. However, this would not go in the regular recycling because of that, I think, insert component. So this is going to have to be Terracycle or Pact, and that's a decision that I'm going to have to make. And then the other lip chap is another Crate 61 product. It is the Vanilla Bean Organic Lip Balm, and this is another thing that I ended up buying from, I think, Home Sense or Winners in like a 4-pack. And it's also a really, really nice lip balm, and I like Crate 61 because they're made in Canada. And I kind of had some beef with them originally because I was pretty sure that they used palm oil in their products, and you know, palm oil is another thing that we really need to be moving away from across all industries. Like, palm oil is really has proliferated so many industries, but especially food and cosmetics and beauty. It is in everything. And the production of palm oil is destroying the rainforests. So, you know, there's just so many things happening in the world that are bad. Anyways, the ingredients list is on this, but it's super tiny and I'm tired, so I'm not going to read it, but I'm pretty sure that they no longer use palm oil, but just don't quote me on that. However, I do really like them, and once I have the time and energy to read their ingredients list again, if indeed there is no palm oil, it is a no-brainer for me to repurchase their soaps and their lip balms, because your bitch loves lip balms. It's cream and a lip balm in every room of the house. It's just a must-have. All right, again, because of the size of the package and the little like twist-up component, that makes it very challenging to recycle, so it's gonna have to be a Terracycle and or Pact. And it's gonna go in the rinse bin because it still has some residue. All right, guys, that is the entire bag. I know that was a lot of stuff. I know that was a lot of information, but again, I just think that these kinds of conversations are so important. And that is one of the reasons why I want to be on this platform, is to have real talk, is to have real conversations about some of these like really kind of itchy topics that no one wants to talk about, that no one wants to bring to light, that no one wants to or really likes to think about, because it just adds this like extra layer of stress and anxiety onto your life when there's already so many external factors that are so far beyond our control and that are so stressful. And like, if you're watching the news, things just keep getting worse and worse around the world and locally. And I get it. We have information burnout, we have just general fatigue of like decision making and identity and all of this stuff, and it can be super, super stressful. So that is not what I'm trying to accomplish, like stressing you out. I just want us to, again, be more aware and more conscious of the ways that we're consuming and the things that we're consuming, and, you know, understanding that until there's like a huge systemic change, the responsibility for the end of life of our products does rest on our shoulders. And if we want to move through this world as more conscious, more sustainable individuals, that's something that we just have to acknowledge and accept and, you know, bully up to the plate. And we're all in it together, honestly. Some of us are obviously more affluent, more financially capable of making some of these decisions than others. So that's something that we also need to be very conscious of. But again, we are all in this together. At the very least, we're in the same storm, not necessarily in the same boat. But I think that if we all kind of join arms, if we link elbows, we will be able to weather that storm a lot better. And it really does start with having these conversations. Anyways, guys, I think that is everything from me today. I really hope that you did enjoy this. And if you stuck it all the way through this very, very, very long video, thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate everyone who shows up here to hang out with me every single week. If you're new here and this is the first video of mine that you're tuning into, I would absolutely love for you to join Land Fam, so be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. If what we talked about in today's video interests you at all, again, I will link a bunch of different resources, including links to the Terracycle and Pact websites and a couple other podcast episodes on the subject of plastics and recycling that I think might be of interest. So definitely be sure to check out the description box down below. And without further ado, I am going to sign off. I hope wherever you are having an absolutely wonderful day or night, and I will see you in